Jessica Day, the main character of New Girl, describes relationships as haunted houses. Why, you may ask? Well, the metaphor, along with the story New Girl, has a lot to teach us about interpersonal communication theories and how we interact with one another and why we create meaning in the way that we do. My name is Chelsea Posterly, and I will be showing you how this TV show teaches us about interpersonal communication through the relationship of Jessica Day and Nick Miller. So to start out on uncertainty reduction, when we are first introduced to people, we are slowly asking questions and trying to dig deeper into who they are. So as the characters on New Girl, Grayson showed a little bit of this clip, but they are first meeting each other for the first time, and through uncertainty reduction theory, we gather information to make a predictable claim about a person or a group of people. If we view that person as more attractive or are interested in what they have to say, we are more likely to dig a little deeper and find out more about them. But if we have more of a negative vibe that we get from them, we do the opposite, and we do not want to communicate more in depth with them. So you can see that through this clip. I'm not going to play the entire thing.
She dumped me, and I'm over it. Okay, it was 6 months ago, guys. Get past it. I don't even know why we're still talking about it. Why is everybody looking at me?
You know what? I want to live here.
Actually, still some questions. I mean, no offense, we're very familiar.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, full disclosure, I'm kind of emotional right now because it's a breakup, so I'll probably be watching Dirty Dancing at least 6 or 7 times a day. I'm a teacher, so I bring home a lot of popsicle sticks, stuff like that. Also, I like to sing to myself a lot. I'm tired of living with my friend. She's a model. All our friends are models.
How soon can you move in?
Actually, you can't say that.
Okay, can you give us a second? I'm just gonna have to move away.
My boys are coming from my bros. Okay, please back up. I'm going for my bros.
Alright, so now that we know the characters a little more and that they know a little more about each other, we start to begin to see who they really are as people. So our personalities form from the root of our mental state. Self-discrepancy theory kind of explains this, and it says that our self-esteem is determined by 2 mental standards. So we have our ideal self and our ought self. Our ideal self is the characteristics that we want to have based on our personal desires, and our ought self are characteristics that others wish we have or others wish they expect us to have, or what others expect us to have. So things such as what your family sees you or as, or who they want you to be. So Nick and Jess, they argue a lot in their relationship. Nick believes it's important to be very blunt and straightforward because being nice in life gets you nowhere, and Jess is pretty much the complete opposite, and she really likes to be kind to other people. There is a specific scene where they are driving and an old man cuts them off, and they're both arguing and they have different approaches to their road rage, but they just have very different personalities, and how they view themselves affects how they interact with others. So I have this little gift thing that I think pretty much sums it all up. So Nick is talking about how he likes getting older because he feels like he's finally aging into his personality, and it flashes back to his childhood when he was basically an old man trapped in a little kid's body, and he's like screaming at people outside. So it says, "Get your crap out of my yard," and then there's an ice cream truck, and he says, "Turn that nonsense down." It's an example of that. So our personalities and who we are have a lot to do with how we make meaning in different types of situations that we encounter over time. This coordinated management of meaning theory explains how people who interact socially construct meaning based on their different views. So we all have values and a vision that we can apply when going into different situations of how we make meaning of that situation. So when we encounter social situations, we first want to understand what is going on and the basis of the situation, and that's how we make our own judgments and sort of understand the outcome of what is going on. So now that we know a little more about Jess and Nick's values a little bit better, we have a better understanding of how we interpret and understand different events. So one example can be seen in this episode called The Landlord. Jess convinces the landlord to fix some things around the apartment, but all of her roommates don't want the landlord to come because they actually have another person living there that shouldn't be living there, and there's like a bunch of things broken that they don't want to they can't afford to pay for. So Nick worries that Jess doesn't realize the landlord's real intentions because he actually has some sexual intentions towards her, but it just follows how they make meaning of the situation. So now that Nick and Jess have developed more of a strong friendship throughout the course of the show, it kind of shows that their friendship is a little more than just a friendship. By the end of season 1, Nick sort of reveals himself to Jess, and he does this by using social penetration theory, and it's how a person reveals private information about themselves by peeling back layers. So an example of this can be an onion. So you have several layers to yourself, and it's just the process and how we open up to others. So Nick does this mainly through his actions. Through the course of the show, he does say things, but in the clip that I have here, I used it to basically sum up the entire theory of the show. So Nick, throughout the course of the show, tells her more about his family, and you get to see more about his personality. He's very sarcastic, and he's not very like an affectionate person, but through this clip that I'm going to play next, you see his actions. This clip describes, it's a scene where Jess gets stood up on a date, and you really see Nick's true feelings for her. So.
Do you have anything else that is free but also has bread in it? Because the like good bread I ate, and all that's left is like it's like kind of like a health bread.
I'm sorry. We're gonna have to ask you to give up the table.
Can I please just stay with this a little bit longer? On a date?
Yeah, we're her boyfriends. We are reverse Mormons. One man just isn't enough for me. Hey, Jess, that guy was a jerk as a clown.
You guys missed your party to come here. Me?
Yeah, we care about you. I like you.
That's so nice.
What is that? Don't start crying.
It's cool. It's very, very
Come on, Jess. Come on. You got it. Hey, don't cry. Right? Hey. It's all for love. And I never felt this way before. This is true. Na na na. What's up? There's something in my love. And if the song that you
Just remember, you're the one thing I can't get enough of. And I can't stop now. If you think you're good, then good enough.
Okay, so as you can see, Jess and Nick's relationship started as friends and kind of grew into something more. So from first meeting to having very different personalities to developing something more than a friendship and opening up to others. So you may still be wondering why Jess describes relationships like a haunted house. So she says that, do you want to know why I don't like haunted houses? Because they're just like relationships. You walk in all confident, and then once you get in, it's not what you thought it was going to be, and it's scary.